guess what? Finances update. The SIP transfer that I started in April is still not done at the end of June. In the time it's taken for it just to be sitting where it's sitting, it's actually gone up 5%. So the original figures that I put are now 5% wrong. So I don't think that's causing a problem. I had lots of problems with whether I can do it, whether I can transfer the actual stocks and shares as a whole, or I've got to change it to cash and all of that, which I talked about in another video. They have recently confirmed again that there's a very small amount of cash. Do I want to transfer that as well as all the stocks and shares? So that says to me that they've now got figures, or they wouldn't know there's a small amount of cash. So it should be going through. It's obviously on its way through. But yeah, so the whole of May, the whole of June, half of April, madness. It's just, it's ridiculous really. But that's happening. I have just come back from Dallas, Texas, and it explains a lot. I think on a previous video I talked about how flights and points seem to be getting, you had to use more points, flights, reward flights were getting fewer and far between, they were way more expensive, because this time when I went to see my son in June, the options were so limited and it was so much more money than normal that I was really surprised. Guess what? It was the World Cup. How did I end up in Arlington, a 5-minute Uber ride away from where England played Croatia, and not even know that that's where I was? I actually am an avid football follower of the Premier League, because I've come second for the second or third year running in my fantasy Premier League. I actually take that really seriously. But I totally forgot that the World Cup was in America, and I didn't know that Arlington, the Arlington TNT Stadium, 5 minutes away from my son's house, was hosting an England match whilst I was there. So actually we didn't get anywhere near the stadium. Even all the pubs around the stadium, they were charging table fees of like $400, and they were booked up. We were willing to pay that, but they were all booked up. Tickets, when we realised about 3 days before, were over £1,000 per person, so we didn't do that. But we went to a brilliant Irish bar about 5 minutes from the AT&T Stadium and really soaked up the atmosphere and had a fab time. And it was a real relief to me when I realised I don't think reward flights have gone up that much. I don't think the options are that limited. It's when I went. So, really weird mistake to make, but I had an awesome time. I've realised that I would be at work today. This is it. This time coming back from Dallas felt quite strange, knowing that I'd not got to try and work through jet lag, and I wasn't going to be at work in like 2 days' time. So I've been back a few days now, and today I would actually have been working. So this is it. The retirement has actually hit for real. And I'm currently doing a trusted house sit in Yorkshire. I was only back a couple of days before I had to head up for Yorkshire for a trusted house sit, but I booked it in January before I booked going to Lewes, so I wasn't going to let anybody down. I would never let anybody down. So it wasn't ideal, but I worked out today, for somebody who said on a previous video that I don't want to travel as much, that between now, so between the end of June and the end of July, between the end of June and the end of August, I am at home for approximately 15 days. So in 2 months, I am not doing more than 15 days at home. So things will definitely slow down after the sits that I've got. This is quite a long sit in Yorkshire. I'm then sitting for a friend of mine actually in Northamptonshire. I'm doing a little wedding sit for someone, and we're going on our annual August holiday. So the good thing is that Chase is with me on all but one of the little sits. So I'm not leaving him, which is good. And Bruce is going to come up and visit at weekends. But he's still at work. So that's a little bit of an update on the travel situation. It's a little bit of an update on the finance situation. Another update on the finance situation, and it is something that I don't think I'll have to revise our figures because other things are changing, so I'll explain that in a minute. But I spent a hell of a lot more money in America than I intended to spend. Now, I've only got one son and his beautiful wife, and while I'm there, they usually make sure I don't spend anything, but this time I insisted. I wanted to make sure that I was able to treat them just a little bit, and I was able to pay for some meals, and my son's fabulous father and mother-in-law are too generous to me all the time, so I took them out for a meal. I took all of us out for a meal, so I spent way more I'm talking way more than I even thought about budgeting for. And when our annual allowance is sort of, my annual allowance when we retire will be sort of 22,000 a year, I'll have to add probably a couple of thousand onto that if I'm going to visit my son a couple of times a year, and want to treat everybody like I did this time. I've accounted for flights and things, but it's just that I only go twice, and you'll all have, everybody who's retired all have times that they'll think they want to splash out a little bit, and you've got to make sure that the budget allows for that splashing out a little bit. And please remember to like and subscribe. If you enjoy these videos, if they add any value to your life whatsoever, please hype or like and subscribe. Thank you. As I'm talking it through now, I actually don't think I'll have to add any money onto the annual allowance, because there'll be other ways in which we're spending less. Because the more I am travelling and the more I am away from home, the more I'm realising it's not about visiting new places. It's just about being in nice places. I'm sitting here by the river having a fabulous time, and this could be a river 10 minutes from my house. It's not, it's the river Ure, I think, U-R-E. But I could be anywhere. And when I visit these places, 9 times out of 10, after I've done a quick whiz round the church and the little independents, I sit in a coffee shop and just people watch. I could be doing that 10 minutes from my house. So I'm starting to realise that if Bruce isn't with me and if Chase isn't with me, I'm not sure I want to be going away anywhere near as much as I thought. And I'm not sure, once Bruce and I downsize and move up to Yorkshire, that we'll have a huge desire to be away for 9 months of the year. I'm not sure we will. If we can find spots like this, and I'm currently in Yorkshire, about 20 minutes from where we will be moving to, if I can find spots like this, then I don't think we'll be as desperate to go away. And even though we haven't budgeted huge amounts for going away, because we know once we get to somewhere, we do just chill a lot. Obviously, all the accommodation costs, all the flight costs, all the transport costs, if we take in Chase to Portugal, all of those costs factor up, they add up. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I think our budget of £45,000 might be actually more, quite a lot more than we need. So that's obviously a really good point too, that we might not need that amount of money. And a final update, because it's looking quite certain now that I have got Bruce to agree to retire in 18 months' time. So rather than doing 2 years from now, we are relatively confident, assuming the markets don't drop by 50%, which you don't know. We're in a difficult political situation at the minute. We don't know how things are going to pan out, and all of those things can impact on the market. So currently it's looking like our new life can start in 18 months' time, that next season of our life. I'm just going to give you a last look at this beautiful view, and maybe you can hear the babbling. And this is the place to be when you've got a doggy dog and it's 27 degrees or something in the sunshine. But it's definitely not here. It's beautiful and cold. Thanks for watching.